On the Arima Yellowtail, I'm going to show you here correct kicker motor connection and operation. At the helm, this is your standard controller for your main engine. Right here in the center, as you'll see on the side there, is your kicker. These two operate independently. In the sense, you will never operate both of these engines at the same time. You will also never raise or lower these engines while they are connected. You will always disconnect them, which I'll show you here in a second, before you raise or lower them. Otherwise it puts a binding on the cable and can damage it. So I'll show you what that means. The kicker motor is going to run completely by itself. We have a controller over here which I'll show you. Its steering is garnered and manipulated by the rotation of the main engine. We're going to connect a cable between the two of them here, and I'll show you how that works. So here's your main throttle. This controller down here, this is entirely for the kicker motor. Key right here on the back that you'll start it just like you would in the other one. The kicker motor is going to have a primer ball on the fuel line right at the engine. You'll pump up to get it nice and firm, and then you'll just simply put your key in here and you'll crank it up just as you would with any other engine. Now your throttle is exactly the same. There's a button on the back here to release out of neutral. This is your trim up and down. This raises and lowers the engine. In general, whenever you're operating just the main engine, you'll have this kicker motor completely up, disconnected from the main engine, just stored out of the way. Now you'll see as I push this button here to raise it, you'll hear it raise up, and you'll see it raise as well. That's how it's stored. Now, to connect the two, you notice right here behind the throttle, there's a cable here that has kicker notated on it. This is how you connect these two motors. A little tricky with one hand, but I'll show you how this works. On the end of the connector here, there is a connector, or a little kind of crimper, if you will, that pulls down to allow the ball valve to go into here. So we will come to the back of the kicker here, raise it up, lock it in there, and then let that sleeve re-engage. Now it's locked in. And then the other side is going to connect here at the main engine. Now, to make this connect, you can move this engine around here. The kicker motor is just loose. We're going to have it connect. And when it does, as we push it over here, just get it nice and straight. When this is connected correctly, these should line up pretty similar. Now you see I've got it in there like that. It's locked in, and as you see, the orientation of the engines is pretty much exactly the same. Now, as I turn the main steering wheel here, it will move and rotate both engines. And as you can see here, now when we're out there using that kicker on the sound, we'll have just it running. The main engine's in the water, because that's how we, like I said, connect our kicker. And there you go. There's your operation. Now, when you are ready to head back on the water, use your main engine, you will disconnect that kicker cable there, the connector cable, raise the kicker out of the water so it's completely out. You can flip it to the outside or to the inside, whichever way. It should have clearance on the engine. And then you operate your main engine just as you would, and come back with that kicker out of the water.